Hi, this message is for Miss Caufield Ford. I'm Perry Carey. We've never met. I want to explain at least to one person what happened and how it happened and why it happened. So, when I was younger, probably in the third grade, the bullying started for being gay, and I was very much ostracized for not only my response, but also my inability to focus. By the eighth grade, it was like my choice was stay home and play PlayStation or go to school and get beat in the face and called the six-letter F word. So I dropped. I was expelled, but I basically dropped out. I did attend high school, several high schools, but it continued. The bullying, it was very merciless, and eventually I did just drop out and started abusing drugs. And I say around 20 years old is when the psychosis started. And I was going through this buffyboards.com, and there was a thread and it said, somebody please make a Buffy movie. And I was in psychosis and I thought, I will do that. I'll be the one that does that. I was, after 2 years of psychosis, taken into a mental ward, like a psych ward, like a psych unit, and put on medication. I had a torrid relationship with clinical intervention, but they never did address the obsessions. I know what they are now. They're not delusions. They're obsessions, but they never did address these obsessions. And I continued until I relapsed into cannabis abuse at 26. And then it was out of control. You should have seen me on Twitter. Now, what I experience isn't a hallucination. It is a dissociation. My CPTSD, which will forever remain undiagnosed because of my torrid relationship with clinical intervention. So it's a daydream. I've been daydreaming since I was 10 years old, and walking to school being like, if I approach the bully differently, okay, and I won, right? And it's always been like a daydream, and maladaptive daydreaming is a thing, although it's not recognized when it comes up in my conversations with mental health professionals. Um, it's a thing, and it can often involve like TV series and fandoms, really fandoms. But I say fandom and I get scoffed at because I obviously don't know what I'm talking about. Kano, leave the tapestry alone, please. And like, you should have seen the doctor's reaction when I identified as queer. When I was like, I think I'm kind of want to identify as queer, when he asked how I identify, he shuddered in disgust. And he was a gay doctor, much older, probably 60, generation retire. But so that's kind of how it started, and it never really stopped. The lack of an education is unfortunate, but I do have some worldly knowledge in other subjects. I'm a boss when it comes to astrology. I'm really good with like divination. I know everything there is to know about certain topics, and I know enough about certain topics to have conversations about them. Politically daft, I don't know the first thing about politics. I know that in Alberta, if Jason Kenney was the NDP and Rachel Notley was the UCP, I wouldn't want to be in Rachel Notley's UCP. I'd be terrified of some kind of genocide, or at least a mass execution. Because if she was UCP, that's a funny, right? I think my brand is facetious, like flippant, like I don't give a fuck, have a joke, like it's like that. And when I said that thing about you being a bitch at Starbucks, I was in one of those daydreams where most of them took place at a Starbucks, where I would walk up to like a Buffy actor or a celebrity and pitch my whatever. And it was just like, it was supposed to be funny. I don't know. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. There was a lot of like psychosis, but it was more just kind of an inferred confusion, I believe, and a daydream, and just being super hopeful, and having a vivid imagination. So I can't pitch to you because they won't let you hear it if I do. But the Buffy was good, and what it came down to after, like, I think in February or January of last year, I came up with the Great Slayer Champion thing, because like the next step in evolution, like my next step in evolution for Scream is to be murdered by Ghostface as yourself. And because it's about the movies, Hollywood movies, it would be fun to like be on set of a new Scream limited series and just start killing people as Ghostface. I thought it was fun. I thought it was kind of like I said, flippant. Like, I don't really need to be so serious. Let's have a fun. Um, and Britney Spears, I did call her Bowsette. It wasn't her being a whore or like a slave. It was about the music industry. It was like 1992, and it was very Missy Elliott, For My People, like slap on a frog and dance. Like, that was my Bowsette. She wasn't some kind of sex slave. She was like Madame Bowser. Originally, Madame Bowser was Kim Cattrall, because my Bowser in the sequel was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she was Madame Bowser. I love Kim Cattrall. I had this idea for like Aunt Samantha to be my Joanne, like Lady Gaga Joanne, and to like die of breast cancer. Obviously, who knows what's happening there? It's none of my business. But a great Slayer champion I love as the next stage in evolution, like Rhonda the Immortal Waitress, inspired by his mother, serving the men all day, serving the world all night, never getting a day off, and never being retired or retiring, like never being laid to rest. And I thought it was very anti-feminist. I recently saw his comments, and I say, like, I am here for you to come up as the face of narcissistic abuse and recovery from it. I'm a peer supporter. Like, I went to peer support school at the CMHA. My peer support competencies are hope and resilience. And I'm like, yo, like, you need to talk. Woo, let's peer support. I'm here for you, bro. Like, if you want to come up, it's not like you raped anyone or shot a woman to death and we're on the news like the next day being like, well, this is what happened. Like, and this is how we're dealing with it. And he was like, Ray Fisher's a bad actor. Gail Gadot, I don't know how to speak her name. It's not my first language, but doesn't speak English. She's a foreigner. And Charisma Carpenter was never fat, but I was fucking Eliza Dushku. Like, honestly, I don't agree with his way of approaching it. Like, I don't know, I just don't agree with it. But I don't know, I'm good at flack. You should see me handle QAnon. Okay, I handle it well. Jeffrey Epstein made all that shit on QAnon up. He put it right on Ellen's show. Welcome to hell, bitch. Why do you think she drinks? And she's a mean drunk, but she's in recovery now that he's dead. I can flack anything. But my Buffy, a great Slayer champion, as you know, a Slayer fights with the strength of her enemy. I'm working on champion, but I think it's dies for the purpose of good or something. And because I know what it was originally, more than human, but with a soul. But it's not really like that anymore. I want to have to do with purpose, and maybe death, sacrifice even. And this girl will be great without doing either. And then she's like, do I get superpowers? Like in the world of the realm of the powers that be? And they're like, no, bye. And they push her in, and she's cute. Her name is Beck. She lives in Sunnydale, and one of the Sunnydale, it's a world. I know it's a multiverse in their universes, but it's a world. It's Buffy, the world. Okay? And like the Monica thing, like in 2018, I was like, I'm going to make her black, and I tagged Charisma. I'm like, her name is Monica. She's black, and her name is Monica, the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Kind of grumpy because Moniqua actually has evolved, and when we figured out how to explain the Qua, Harmony and her husband Scott, in this universe, it was why Monique, but in French. And it comes out sometimes when they're angry. Moniqua has a Kelly Rowland writings on the wall haircut and gold in her nose. In the first episode, she has to take it out in the second episode. And I bring great characters in. Like, I had the idea that, like, your kids, America, are, on meth, they're in jail, they're shooting each other at the mall, and they're not doing their homework. So I'm taking control, and we're going back to high school on Disney with Buffy, which is 16 plus because of the blood. On Netflix, it's Scary High School, produced by Tori Spelling and the Wayans brothers at Sunnyvale High. And on Netflix, it's a good old American high school. It's not another teen series, okay? And it's Chris Evans as the principal. And it's funny when I do the Six Sisters of Plastic. He's like, I know, this is like aluminum. He's like, no, wait, I know what's going on here. Cigarette butts. Because the Six Sisters of Plastic are a thing on Buffy. It's Bob the Drag Queen on Halloween as Textiles. Rosie O'Donnell or Jane Lynch or Rosie O'Donnell as a waste of breath on Boxing Day. And it's like the parents come, the students are all on the bleachers, they can't move, and she'll just put her nose up to them and they'll be wrapped up and hop off as gifts. My idea of Kelly Donovan playing Xander is the best idea. It was like he was born to play this role, and I write Xander much different. It's not, if it was called The Orgasmator or whatever, like, no, that's not Xander. He's not like that anymore. And I have my restricted episode. You get the final F-bomb, and I would walk in on my first day and not walk out until I was permitted restricted in season 2. And you get the final F-bomb as Anya. You eventually become Anya as you grow. You were in the cave for 1,000 years, which is, we'll go to the cave. In this world, it's different. And you get the masturbation scene as well, and it's an F-bomb as you discover, your clitoris. For now that you're human again. Sarah had 2 of the F-bombs. She guessed it for 4 to 5 episodes in the second season. She was in the first season finale, and she's in Alumni Week, the 3rd season finale of Great Slayer Champion Girl. There are 3 Buffy the Vampire Slayer worlds, and it's all called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but they come periodically every couple of days, sometimes 2 to 3 a week. There's not Rhonda, because the girl has been promoted. Rhonda's got a promotion to Great Slayer Champion. The boy, not Rhonda. He's older. He's like 17 in his first episode, maybe 16. He lives in the middle, kind of north of the middle, sorry, on the other side. And his villain was Mary Louise Parker. She's the leader of the Order of Aurelius now. And she's hideous in certain shades of moonlight. And it's love at true sight. She needs her true love at first sight, like with the Master. But Mark Metcalf, even appearing human, he was kind of a jerk to everyone, and he ended up dust. So anyway, she's great villain. I like her. And the second season, and not Rhonda, and then Black Trans Shoe. Black Trans Shoe is the Boom Studios world, where I would just wrap it up with Buffy going before Baphomet and making a trade, give everyone a normal life and stay the hell out of Sunnydale, and you can have me. And that's how she ended it. Black Trans Shoe is just this kid that got pushed into a portal. She appeared to be a girl. She was a cisgender girl at first. And she was pushed into a portal by Fred, and then Fred was ordered in to find her. And then he turns around when the TV comes on, because it's Super Jumbo Wrestle Max Japan puppets. And they're big puppets, and he's a little puppet, and they have a special little loser puppet guest, and he throws the remote, because originally we weren't supposed to have David. He was spoofing Cordelia on Netflix as like famous guy douche master supreme. And then at the end of the first season, because Sarah would be special guest at the end of the first season, she would be in Black Trans Shoe too, tied to a chair in front of the egg, the look on her face like horrified, kind of run, kind of help me, and the egg lights up. Then we've got Buffy the puppet, Buffy the vampire slaying puppet, and the cameras go off. We all just pull out the gun, she gets the bazooka and blows up the egg. And that's kind of just like fun. It's just like whatever, it doesn't always have to be so serious. But Black Trans Shoe was fun, and then we cut him for the first half of the second season, because we're doing a Hell World where Merry Christmas at the end, we flay what's his name alive, Parker Abrams. Merry Christmas. And then it goes on, Emma, Caufield, Ford's, Anya would pop in and out, kind of the bumblebee man, and she would bring trouble to Xander and then leave. Or she could have an arc, like she doesn't want a job, she wants to make her own job, and then, hooks and chains and drag the microwave, calls her somewhat of a modern woman. She's like the modern woman. And it goes on, and the modern woman just has been alive in a hell world in the cave for 1,000 years, and has many things to say about the way the world, runs, and for men and women. She is the modern woman. And I plan to have Emma Caufield Ford up on TikTok, modern womaning in the real world about politics once a week. Get up there in modern woman. When Spike comes in, he's mortal now, and they explain it to each other when they get to know each other. And she's like, "You're a mortal man. You're the modern man." And it's just this joke, because he can sit there on her modern woman kind of podcast or whatever. And she gets the endorsements. She's like, it blends, and the blender just blends the fruit. She's blonde now. It's like the first episode of the 3rd season, but she's being deported. She doesn't have any documentation to prove she's an American, and they're deporting her to Kazakhstan, which isn't even a real place. And then Xander suggests they fake a wedding, and she doesn't want to marry him. He's her best friend. And then the musical episode, which is in 3 years, and I probably could find someone to help me write it. My guitar chords won't be Rubik's cubes, but there'll be something all right. Plus, there's that lyrics app where you can write songs on, and I figure that shit out. And like, again, facetious, kind of flippant, have a joke. And he sings the Mrs. reprise, the reprise of Mrs. And then she's on the couch, and in the morning she's just gone. We see her again during season 4, which is just 5 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel Apocalypse. Shanshu is 90 minutes. That's the 2 were originally supposed to be just those 2 things ever. Then I came up with all this. And then Homecoming is another 5 episodes, maybe 6. And she has an after credit scene, also called a stinger, called Anya Croft Kazakhstan Raider, where she did all of her own stunts. There's also another fight for college, leader Queen College. That's Buffy, the new Great Slayer Champion Girl's first season. It's like Lord of the Flies in the college, or in the high school, and then her friend who's in college like takes control after Full Tilt Sunnydale High Madness. And there's only one thing that separates him from everyone else. He goes to college. And then we start in Lord of the College Fly Bros or whatever. And then Faith interrupts that when they finally let her in because she's enrolled in college. And she fights him and becomes Queen College. But they don't like her in the end either. Or either. Either, I don't know. How do you say that? E-I-T-H-E-R. Is it either? Either? Some people say either. People say espresso, and I'm like, go to McDonald's for your coffee. Anyway, and then, we'd have Glorificus versus the Maraschino, which is just the thing that is buried under the Hellmouth that Sire the First took on, and Buffy traps it in there, because she wasn't the one to release it anyway. And at first it was Sarah as the espresso nut, Blood Jasmine. Could be anyone, whoever's willing to come back for Run and Gun, and, Twisted Tower of Fate, which is at the end. It's like the 5th season, I guess, but it's just 45 minutes of Twisted Tower of Fate. Sarah Michelle Gellar, who's been in about 20% of this, Claus climbs out of the dirt at the bottom, and Alison Hannigan's in a pointy hat at the top. And then Run and Gun, which is you, because you've killed the wielders of the power of the wish, all of them across the worlds, slaughtered them, and collected their power in your amulet. And it ends well. You make your wish with the Hoffren. You wish nothing. Everything you could ever wish for, you've carried out by your own hand. Fine, I wish for Buffy Summers. I'd like to kill her again, or just Buffy. And then when he says Anya, is there nothing Anya? Then you morph out of Anyanka face. Him. It's him. You want him. You wish for him. You wish to be with Sandra Harris. Done. And this is the end. You're outside of a mausoleum, you're blonde, you've got a toque on, you're making your plan with hopefully Nicholas Brennan is ready for his finale. He's not in this, but he was in a few scenes, a few episodes. He's back and forth throughout the seasons, but he's not playing Xander Harris until the end. And he looks good as Xander Harris, even if we have to CG him. He looks good. And then Beck, of course, will come in 19. She's still alive. And then we go through all the characters, and I'll tell you how DeHoffern did it. Warren rides up on a motorcycle with someone on the back, and Buffy takes off her helmet, and we see Willow open his shirt in season 6, and we'll kind of remake that in her look on her face, that if he would just wax his chest, Buffy would hop on that, and then we'd come back, and Buffy's like, did you think we'd miss this? And then it's over. So, I don't know, I didn't want to come in and just I'm making Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's not like that. I obviously want to get my thread lifted. The trauma has done a lot of damage. I just wanted to learn under people. Just sit down, shut up, and hold on, and learn. And that's all I really wanted through anything, even my own Melpomene and Talia at the award show. I could sit down, shut up, and learn on that. It's a slasher. The sequel, it was Talpomia and Malpotia. They were switched faces or split faces, and then Tadalonamini is the Keir Gilchrist face. Pizza Party, Seth Rogen. I don't know everything about religion. I know a bit. Pizza is a pizza, all of us, and the word will deliver us. I know that much. And I could sit down, shut up, and learn under him. Or anyone, really. Scream Queens, I would sit down, shut up, and learn. I know the old bag. There's always an old bag. Gigi, that is an old bag. Okay? Kirstie Alley, I brought that in. Katie Segal is the third old bag. A true crime story as a heroin addict and nurse drowned her baby, but was released because of overcrowding, and now she does Chanel's nails. The fourth one was Loretta Devine. We're tackling racism, gentrification, asbestos, senior citizens house them, sluts. Good morning, sluts. She would barely be in that. And the fifth one, the old bag, was Sarah Michelle Gellar. It skips a generation, the gift, but she had the wealth, the money. She's like Long Island Grande medium, and in the shadows, okay. But her daughter, 22, has the gift, okay, of like spirit communication. But really, it's her son. He's 23. He's very overweight and pimply, and we see in a shadow how she like whips him with chains and beats him, and it's just funny. She's the old bag. I'm done now. Anyway, see, that's where I'm at with like creation. Like, I don't know how to do anything. I can't even write a screenplay. But I'm there at creation, and I could very easily learn. Very easily learn. Very easily learn. One more thing about Anya. Yeah, sure. When she shows up, she's Anya warrior princess. She looks hot coming out of that cave with her weapon, which is like a half circle kind of, and she sheaths like the blade. You know, it's all magic or whatever, mana even, who knows, and then hooks it on, unmorphs, and she's here. And it's the episode where we're having the debate for principal, okay, because the PTA says that the students get to pick their leader, so they want to pick their leader. So it's Kelly Donovan versus Mercedes McNabb, and you are in the human dwelling that you've taken, and they show up and say, like, dress accordingly, no flash photography. You dress yourself, and then you're Prada warrior princess in like a blazer, like a brassiere, okay, a skirt and boots. And you're like, what's up? And you whisper in this little chunky kid's ear, and he runs away, and you take a seat. And the wish is, I wish everybody else hated Xander Harris, and it's Harmony's wish. But then she hands the amulet to Cordelia, who's visiting right now, laying low during the divorce, and says, you need this more than me. And then you see Harmony like, kill Xander Harris. And it's pretty funny. So that's pretty much where I'm at. The Bumblebee man is great. It blends. And the masturbation scene is dope. Sarah's got the sex scene. It's James Marsters' butt. And you hear Sarah Michelle Gellar all the way in the back. I'm doing it wrong. It's one of my funniest. Like when someone get Nicholas Brennan a breathalyzer and a Best Guest Emmy. Call Kelly Donovan's therapist. Just shit I say, I guess. I'm a little bit miniature. Unexplored talent. I have unexplored talent, and I don't have a grudge. I don't really like have a grudge. I'm not like salty about anything. Kind of confused. It's not too late. Morgan Freeman was 40. And if it's like blood drinking celebrities who kill people, I have a few people I'm grumpy with. And blood is, got plasma. Maybe it would heal me a little bit. Anyway, have a nice day, and adios, amigo. Okay, it was supposed to be like Caleb with like the blood coming out of his eyes, or the black, holding like a frappuccino, like a venti, and it was supposed to say, are you ready to finish this? But I never made it. It was supposed to be a joke.